So we're going to cut a frog out of this piece of basswood. Now obviously this is too long. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select a point at which the frog ends, and then we'll kind of whittle it down so that it separates, and then that will just be the end of the frog. First though, let's draw it out a little bit. I have some random markings here, but let's draw a frog. So from the side, frogs kind of have this sloping situation. They've got a couple of eyes, then they slope to the back, and then their legs kind of come out like that, and then they have some front legs like this. Okay. I don't know if you can really see that. It's really rough, but that's just what it is. And then we'll have the two eyes right here, and kind of slope towards the front. And then the back of him will come out right here. And then there will be these legs. I don't know. You get the idea. Let's do this. So, first thing we're going to do is cut out the back, the very back end of the frog. So let's make a V cut here, nice and deep. And then one here, nice and deep as well. And one more right here. And another one right here. And you can do this with whatever size wood you want, because it will all apply. So the first thing we're going to do is cut out the eyes. So let's just cut them out as squares for now. Okay. Something like this. We'll block them out. Okay. And then you can see that it's the shape that it is going to be. And then okay. Now, let's do the front feet. So let's make another cut here. Actually, let's just cut this back a little bit, because it's got to go forward to his snout. And then kind of cut these back at an angle, because his feet are going to kind of, the front legs are kind of going to go up like this and like this. Okay. So cut these out. Right now it's kind of hard to tell that it's going to be a frog, but eventually, hopefully, it will look like one. Okay. So that's the basic shape. Kind of looks the same all the way around. That's good. That's what we want. So now let's cut out his little snout here. Then it comes to somewhat of a point. And let's cut this part up. They have kind of a rounded little snout, but it does come to a sort of a flat point in the front. So cut this back a little ways. And then that will actually help us also define the eyes and how they're going to look. And the legs. So before we get too far, let's cut a notch here for the leg. Okay, something like, be real careful with this. Something like that. And then something like that. Okay. And then keep carving this up. Okay. And then we're going to cut out the eyes here, make a little notch. One and two. Okay. Another notch on this side. One and two. Okay, we're kind of defining those eyes. Now let's round off the back a little bit here, and it will slope kind of towards the back. It's generally how frogs are proportioned. Okay, it's becoming more frog-like by the minute. Let's carve this down a little bit. Kind of make that gap below the face a little bit more, define the legs a little bit more. Okay. And now let's cut this in a little bit. We're going to eventually separate this whole thing. And obviously you don't have to do this if you have a block that's not this long block like I have, but it's a good way to hold on to it because this is such a small piece. It'd be easy to cut yourself. We don't really want to do that. So let's get rid of that piece. Okay. And now we see these back legs here. These are going to be kind of prominent and stick out. So let's carve these out. Something like this. And then something like that. Okay. Now, let's cut that back and define the legs, the feet and the legs. A little bit of cutting here. Remove that. And then a little bit of cutting here. Okay. Even more frog-like. And let's do the same on the other side. So we're gonna carve around in kind of a circle, come down, and then the front of the foot will come somewhere around here. Okay, carve that out. And then that, and then the foot. Don't want to cut too much of the foot off, but that might just happen anyway. Okay. Remove some of this. Okay, so now this slope here can sort of be disconnected from this frog. Let's cut this away. Kind of keep cutting. And we actually want the feet to kind of stick out, so we're going to cut back some of this. So actually, before we get too far, let's do that. Cut that back. Because the legs will stick out to the side a little bit. I carved a big one of these for my son and painted it. Looked pretty cool. All right. And now, let's make a little notch underneath the eye here to make that a little more prominent. And then another one underneath here. Okay. Then we can make this a little more rounded, because they are eyes after all. And when you paint it, you can indicate that they're eyes by obviously giving them sort of pupils and the whole bit. Okay. So now let's dig away some of this. Some of this material here can go. And then let's make a V cut here to separate the two front legs. Okay. You can get as detailed as you want with this, but for the most part, it's going to be kind of blocky because it's such a small frog. You know, we're not going to put each individual toe on it. Okay, and then it's kind of looking frog-like, but we need a little more slope to the back. Then we're going to dig this out a little more. We want those legs to pop out to the side a little bit. Okay. And then let's round off the top of the legs because we don't want them jagged. It's not how a frog looks. Let's dig out some of this in here and kind of show the feet a little bit more. Okay. All right, here's the final product. I've got it in between some of my other things that I've done. You can see the frog. Kind of a simple thing, but you know, once it's painted up with some, I don't know, you could do Christmas green, or what we got here? New shamrock. I think I might do it with that. That's what I did my last one with, so. Anyway, thanks for watching, and subscribe and like the video.